When the Europeans turned up on the shores of the Americas, their technological superiority over the natives was readily apparent. They had ships, guns, and, of course, metal. Metal tools had been around in the Old World for thousands of years by this point. But the American Indians seemed to really only have access to stone tools. This raises the question, why didn't the Native Americans use metal? Well, actually, they did use metal, so why is it so often depicted to the contrary? In South America, metallurgy is thought to have begun as early as 2000 BC, which for reference, it was around this time that horses were first being domesticated, Bronze Age just reached northern China, and the 11th dynasty of Egypt came to an end. All things considered, that's pretty early, even when compared to the Old World. These people smelted and cast copper, silver, gold, and various other metals, including some purposefully made alloys. This technology spread north into Mexico and Central America, and helped create some extremely opulent hoards of treasure. This wealth is part of what motivated the Spanish conquest in later centuries, but it's more commonly known that the peoples in modern-day Latin America had metal. But what about North American Indians? Well, believe it or not, some of them had metal before their southern cousins did, like 3,000 years before. It was at this time that people in the Great Lakes region began to fashion tools out of copper. For reference, in 5000 BC, people still spoke Proto-Indo-European, and the Sahara was still lush grassland. This means that Native Americans were first using metal at around the same time people were discovering it in the Old World. The copper used in North America at this time was mainly what is called native copper, which is copper that occurs naturally as a metal as opposed to an ore. The copper could simply be picked up and hammered into shape, without ever having to smelt it. This gave the Indians a huge advantage in producing metal objects over their Mesopotamian counterparts. However, it also meant smelting was never invented in North America. And so, when native copper supplies dwindled, metal became less and less easy to come by. This made metal more expensive, and soon relegated it to jewelry, religious artifacts, and luxury goods. So much so, that when the Europeans encountered them 6,500 years after metal was first discovered, its use was all but forgotten.